The Kelid looked at his blade laying on the hard dirt. He had no idea how it had gotten tossed so far from where the fight started, and he didn't care. As the metallic creature rose back up and prepared to attack him again, he ran. He could hear it giving chase behind him, and knew that even as injured as it would have caught him before he had gotten back to the pile of scrap if he'd tried. But he didn't need to go nearly that far now. He ran past his sword, towards the heated metal side of the boat. Once he was almost close enough to reach out and touch it, he quickly threw himself to his right and dropped to the ground. The creature behind him wasn't expecting it, and rammed headlong into the boat with an enormous deep gong, like the bell of a god being rung, and fell to the ground. The Kelid screamed from the noise, but didn't let it stop him. He ran back to the sword, grabbed it, and... now what? I know I can't hurt it with this. That orc's hammer couldn't put a dent in it. What can my blade do? And a voice that both was and wasn't his own answered him. Make this a fair fight. He looked at the creature as it pulled itself back up. Its body made of dull green metal. Its arm missing. He looked towards the far back of the boat. At the closest of the shimmering, bubbling puddles that was now less than 50 feet away from him, and knew what he had to do. The Kelid ran to the puddle, hearing the creature already on the move behind him, and, without stopping to think, plunged his sword and the hand holding it into the green liquid. There was a brief, immense burst of pain, followed by a loss of all feeling as the superheated metal burned away the nerves in his hand and forearm. He spun, dime-sized sizzling drops of the stuff flying, and hurled his now fully covered sword at the approaching creature. The balance thrown off from its new coating, the flat of the blade hit the creature in the chest, instead of the point sinking into it as he intended, but it didn't matter much. The creature's chest caved in at the point of impact and it stumbled backwards. The Kelid looked down at his right hand, curled into a loose, green fist. He tried to move his fingers, his wrist, anything, but couldn't. That's fine by me. If I have to give up my arm to kill this thing, that's a perfectly fair price. Walking up to the creature, he grabbed his sword from where it had landed, in his left hand. Like his fist, the metal had already fully dried, and it was barely even warm to the touch anymore. It was warped and weighted all wrong, and the edge was useless, but it would work fine as a club. The creature swung at him from the ground, and he met its fist with his newly reforged weapon. The creature's hand tore itself apart, and the Kelid used the momentum to spin in a full circle and bring the force of both their blows down again onto its chest, punching a hole into it, from which more of the strange, dark and light fluids that were apparently its blood erupted. The creature started spasming, but it had nothing left to hit him with. He walked calmly to its head, kneeled down, and with all of his strength drove his metal-covered right hand through its horrible ruby eye. This is Pod Against the Machine.
Pod Against the Machine.
Welcome back to Pod Against the Machine, the only Pathfinder actual play that rolls around in radioactive mold spores just because we like the color. I'm your host, and here's everybody.
Hey.
That's the sound of four hands waving.
My favorite koan.
Previously on the program, let's see, what did the party do? The party got to searching. With Asuma, their new buddy, they started going from cave to cave, just checking out the scene, squashing some spiders, and seeing, what the Scar the Spider really had to offer, like the local experience, as opposed to the touristy stuff he'd been doing so far. Mostly there wasn't a whole lot of interest until you found a cave with much bigger spider webs than the others, and it also had a nice red, almost glowing sheen to it, as there was a thick carpet of mold over the whole place. The party quickly identified that this mold was radioactive, but they didn't care because they had to lay poison communal on, all except Asuma, who was like, I'm just going to wait outside. Now everyone went in and they found that though there were dead giant spiders all around who had succumbed to the radiation, there were a couple spiders still alive who had not succumbed to the radiation but rather been transformed by it. These giant ogre spiders attacked the party, and Asuma shot at them from outside, and everybody beat them up pretty good, and eventually they went down. After that, the group checked out the rest of the cave, sort of maneuvering their way past the deteriorating webs through the clouds of mold that kicked up with every step, and they found a bunch of mostly eaten stuff, and an android's dead body that was only a little bit eaten, because androids don't taste good to spiders. So they found that android's gear, they added it to their own, and that's where we are now, all outside this radioactive cave.
Alwyn, I feel like you should probably hang on to this one. And he hands Alwyn the scroll of Holy Smite, because I don't think we did that in the last step. But you're the only one who can cast it, so...
Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't have anyone else who can cast that one anymore. Yeah. He will hang on to it then.
Well, that didn't seem like the cave we were looking for, so maybe we should keep looking in some other caves.
Do other caves have this? Have you seen this in a lot of other... Brixby's just like rubbing it in his face because he's immune to really...
That's really probably quite unhealthy, but I haven't seen any more of that around. Hopefully this is the lot of it. You can always come back and get more, though, if you want it later.
One of a kind that really broke the mold here. Continues, should probably. It's the mold talking. At that point, he's more mold than rat. But this is what happens when you don't play for a couple weeks. That was my only note. Let's give the scroll to Halloween. I just ad-libbed the mole rubbing.
Well, I believe the plan that you had talked about before, as you were starting to work your way along the sort of northern wall, was to head towards where Asuma and I guess just Asuma had said the Migo were stationed, in the sort of second of the outcropping valleys on the northern side.
Sounds right.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, I think we were just kind of heading in their direction because they sounded like the less dangerous of the two, and we were just going to kind of pop in any caves we passed along the way.
It's like a cave crawl.
Yeah, we got Simon Pegg with us.
You gotta get the commemorative mug from each cave.
Absolutely.
The problem is a lot
One
of
of us is dressed like a banana.
the caves are very low effort mugs, and they're just the clear plastic ones that are mass produced, and you know they're not, the printing's not going to survive one washing.
But this one has mugs made of mold.
Mold mugs.
Mugs made of mold. Indeed, mold mugs.
And mold lasts forever.
That's why they say stay mold, not stay gold.
They do say that.
In this cave, specifically behind us. And only there.
When they do their rendition of the Outsiders later on in the season. Yeah, if you're following the northern wall and checking more of these caves, it is generally time-consuming and not super fruitful. Just, you know, each cave is mostly pretty shallow. Some of them go in deep a little ways. It's more of the same, just finding like tiny little monsters and fighting your way through them, or finding nothing at all. And going on, and probably by this point, you know, cursing Cassandra Lee and the vagueness of her. I hid it in a cave in the place where everything is caves. But as you're heading to the west and further into the valley, as you start to come around where the wall arcs off to the north again, so you can break away from the river and head up towards the valley where you believe the Migo are. You do see in the west, if you follow the river, it looks like there's some smoke.
Smoke? How much smoke? Like this is like a campfire smoke or something? There's a conflagration of sorts.
It looks like it could be a campfire.
Hey, look, there's some smoke that looks like it could be a campfire.
How far off is it?
I would say when you first spot it, you're pretty far away. You can see it just coming up over the trees. So it's at least a couple thousand feet from where you are. But it's pretty easy to triangulate just seeing it over the trees.
Yeah. And about what time of day would you say it is?
It's afternoon by now.
Plenty of sunshine. Love it.
Plenty of sunshine, but a little bit of a chill in the air. It is fall at this point.
Of course. Tarazi would look to Brixby, the Stabber-Cadabrat, and ask him, "When we get closer to this fire, would you like me to try to stealthily approach, or would you perhaps investigate invisibly?"
Yeah, I mean, either of us could say, I have the magic to make myself invisible, or you. Or actually you and Levi, two people. Snake people. Yeah, no, I mean, mechanically, so kind of funny because I go invisible so often. I haven't been, like, putting a ton of points in stealth. I only have a plus 11. I don't know if Tarazi is higher because you're a...
Yeah, Tarazi has a plus 13.
I figured, yeah. I think I have, like, literally, I don't know how many ranks in there, but not a whole lot. Maybe, like, one or two. I have one rank in stealth. So, yeah, that is, I would be happy to make you and Tarazi, you and Levi, or just Tarazi, because what is Levi's stealth?
Only a plus 6.
Okay, yeah. Do you feel good, like, solo snaking it?
Oh, certainly. Levi could help to guard the group, and I could attempt to investigate.
Excellent. Well, and just double check what the old spell components for this are. Is this the eyelash? This one? Yeah, it's an eyelash
Bat guano?
encased in gum arabic. Bat guano is the fireball. So this one,
that's
he
it.
plucks off one of his long, luscious. He likes to wear clumpy mascara, but his eyelashes are actually much longer. It's a look. And like, so he takes out one eyelash and he wraps it in some gum arabic. And canonically, you have to eat it. That's how it works.
Well, how long does this last? I don't know if you'd want to chew on the lash if we're...
Fair.
You know,
Yeah, I
30
wasn't
minutes
sure if
out.
we were hand waving, getting closer or not. But I can do that whenever we're there. It's going to last. That's my spell. 11 minutes.
Dope. I do want to say the thought now of you pull the V-mods off and they're just smeared in mascara is just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's funny because they add a +1 to perception, but the smeared mascara is a -1, so it's a net 0. But it looks cool, so
And what are you going to do?
you're going to wear them V-mods. That's what you're going to do. But yeah, so sorry, not to displace us spatially if we are still some way away. He puts the he puts the eyelash back in somehow. You're not really sure how it reappears. Maybe it's the clumpy mascara. Maybe it's just. But
Tuck
yeah, he
that
somehow
right back
puts it
in.
back.
His face is half rubber and half gum arabic.
That's my dark secret.
So I think as you as you're closing in on this, you do see that the fire itself is south across the water. It looks like it's kind of where there's a bend in the river and it splits into two pieces. So you're going to have to cross the water to actually get closer, or you can, check it out from across the water.
Remind me of the water as far as like how deep it is, how fast moving.
It's pretty slow moving, but it's rather deep, and they are, I think, at its narrowest point, it is still at least 50 feet wide.
Okay. Well, then maybe Tarazi would. Levi has a swim speed, so he could ride across on Levi, and then leave Levi back on the north side of the river with the rest of the gang.
Might be a big waste of spells too, but I mean, Brixby can DD if it's needed for anything. The only concern that I have is sending you over there, because I'm gonna have to make you invisible at one point. So either I'm going over with you, making you invisible on the other side, making you invisible, and then you're gonna use part of that to cross the river. I would feel safer if we were over there, maybe, I guess is a better way to put it. And maybe we should roleplay it. Tarazi, not only do we have to make you invisible, but I could teleport us away if there's danger. It seems like these are potentially quite formidable foes. Just maybe less captious than the other ones.
Well, I have no objections to us getting closer all together. I just don't want to delay us too much in our search for the and he looks at Asuma. The object we're looking for?
No one mentioned an object. This is very suspicious. I no longer trust you. Get out your weapons!
The object is an Orange Julius, and that is where we are going. I have told you before.
Good save.
Do we want to, swim across? Do we want to zappy-doo?
Are we all going, or just you guys? Seemed unclear on that point.
I could bring everybody across and back using some magic.
Maybe we should all go for safety.
Yeah, I could grant someone the ability to fly. I could also take someone across the way on my disc. I could take Alwyn, and I mean, Kira's strong. You can probably just swim, but I could also give someone the ability to fly, I guess.
And I think in the past we had confirmed the large snake was basically all saddle, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we did 2 on the snake,
Kira
2 on the
could-
saddle, and now we have an Asuma Asuma can fly.
yeah,
Well, the NPC can swim, and the rest suit you 2 in the snake. And
I have the
go
disc.
lettuce.
disc.
Yeah, and I'll just disc. So,
Yeah, we've all crossed the river before. This shouldn't be. It's just Asuma
Yeah.
we have.
Do we think, is there a way to know without getting to the point where we have to start rolling, how close we could get as a group before it got to the point where someone would have to stealth ahead? If we wanted
it's a reasonable question.
kind of...
Oh, I'm sure there are
Yeah.
rules for that.
But, could we get to the other side without alerting them?
based on what we've seen so far, do we think... Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Could we ford the river without them noticing
Yeah,
us?
I mean,
Because it would be nice to all be on the same side in case something goes down.
The river is long enough that you can cross it basically anywhere. You can be plenty far away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so we can go back a bit, cross, and then head back towards it while we're on the correct side. That would be good. Because, I kind of like the idea of Tarazi scouting ahead, because he can, as a ranger, he can do that. And the thing that was bothering me was, if something happened and then we had to cross a river in combat rounds, that would not have been fun.
Isuma, in your time here in the valley, have you known the occupants to camp out with campfires? Is that something you've encountered before?
I don't believe any of the aliens that I have encountered would bother with such a thing, and I haven't seen anyone other than Peter in the valley, and he wouldn't have a fire out in the open like this.
Okay.
We don't think it's those people we saw before who wanted to take our stuff, right?
I have a feeling that if that's those self-flagellating androids, then they're going to meet that wonderful technophobic oblivion much quicker than they imagine.
Well, do we expect another party at work, or do we think the aliens have been the ones to put those people in the cage that we found? We found the, headless, or at least skull top removed people. It's probably the Dominion of the Black.
I think that's the Dominion.
Because it was mentioned that the Dominion were the ones who had repurposed the spider robots, right? Wasn't that said?
And they like the brain sucking.
So I'm assuming since we found... Yeah, since the cage was, near one of the destroyed robots, I'm assuming that means that was the Dominion. Also because of the brain sucking, and we know they have, whatchamacallits with them.
A penchant for brain sucking. Oh, or that as well.
Yeah. But I think Alan will pop up with, oh, do we know anyone else? And say, what about that horrible woman, the one that hurt Asher so bad? She was also looking for the Orange Julius location. Could she have somehow gotten here ahead of us?
I don't mean to be a pusher, but I feel like the only way we're going to answer this question is if someone swallows my eyelash.
Yes, I'll eat your eyelash once we cross the river. But that does remind me, Alwyn, Peter did say there were rude, technically people that hadn't returned. Perhaps they've managed to survive out here.
Well, then maybe we should fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, Snake grin at that. Tarazi is very much down to murder them.
Yeah, murder.
Poor technically.
Raji's gonna go invisible and take a peek.
Are we going to hand wave another river fording? Or is this one...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
Yeah, I think
we said we don't...
you can get across the river without
Yeah.
without issue.
I was going to say, technically the only roll that we would maybe have to make would be for Sam's NPC if he's assuming that 3 people can't fit on a snake.
We'll let
3
that
people
go.
on a snake.
My favorite Ryan Reynolds sitcom.
She can hold on very well with her extra arms. So you ford the river, and on the southern side here, where you're in kind of a little loop between where the river forks in a kind of Y shape, this is all forested here. So you cross, and you pretty immediately have the cover of trees, and you know that the fire was somewhere off to the north. I have dropped Tarazi separate from the party, a little closer to the fire.
Ah, that must be this.
By the obelisk from 2001.
Yeah. Tarazi is, canonically invisible, and I'd like to think the eyelash wasn't the best thing he's ever eaten, but
It's
he doesn't wanna
sticking to
seem
your
rude.
throat. It's
Ew.
the mascara has adhered it right to the side of your throat. It's just like...
He's trying not to cough the entire
It's
time.
like a cricket leg. It just won't go down.
Yeah, so you're going to take a -1 to your stealth as you're just going like... which is just great radio.
Oh, yeah.
Just passively vomit.
Well, at half speed, Tarazi would approach. What's the terrain like?
Well, as you come out of the woods, it is just basically brown, matted grassland in between the sort of bend of the river here. And you can see that there is a small kind of one-person canvas tent that's been pitched, and you can see the smoke from the fire over it. I am going to need you to make a stealth check as you're coming out of there, invisibly, but also coughing.
Oh, come on. Yeah. I think as he exits, though, he would also want to examine the tracks to try and get an idea of what sort of creature this might be, but I'll throw the stealth first. How about a natural 18, Sam?
What's that total?
The invisibility is at a plus 40?
I think it's a plus 20 when moving, isn't it?
Sorry, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, stationary 40, 20 moving. Then, yeah, that would be a 51.
Oh, is that
The-
all?
The number of Federalist Papers Alexander Hamilton wrote over the course of 6 months.
Wow, so Tarazi is Alexander Hamilton levels of quiet right now.
Yeah,
That one's for all you Hamilton heads. out
he's
there.
not throwing away his shot.
All right, well, you can also bounce a survival roll.
Unfortunately, being invisible doesn't give me a plus 20 to survival. Okay. It's a dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, you can see multiple sets of prints, but they look identical or close to identical. There's probably only been one person coming and going from this camp, and it appears to be humanoid.
Okay. Noted. Excellent. Yeah, when it comes to tracking, I mean, we know where he's going, but now he knows to, I guess, identifying tracks. I should have added half my level. I'm really good at this, so that actually would have been a 25. We're going to go back and edit in a plus 5 to all of my previous survival rolls. So re-download those apps, please, on your favorite platform of choice. Tarazi will press onward at half speed. How often do you want those stealthy dues?
Until, the situation changes, you can stick with that 51. But I think as you get, particularly close, I will take a second one.
Okay.
So about where you are now, how you're kind of pulled even with the tent.
It's a natural 1 for a 34.
Well, that's still a pretty good number on account of that bonus of yours. So as you're coming around, you can see that there is a person sitting at the fire. I have sent you a picture of this person in your personal window in Discord because nobody else can see it but you. I'm keeping it secret even from the listeners. Are you approaching further or engaging with this person?
Definitely looks like a friend. And I think he'd take a moment to maybe roll a knowledge check. Now that he can kind of get a look at this individual. Local?
You could do a local or a plains.
Local it is. Oh no. An 11 total.
Well, it's definitely a person. Definitely a humanoid, but definitely not like human. As he does have these sort of short blackish horns coming out of his forehead and red stripes running down the sides of his face and down his forehead as well that look like they could be tattoos or they could just be part of his skin. It's hard to tell, and I think that just the general look of this guy is kind of confusing to Roz. He's not sure what he's looking at.
If only I could detect evil. Well, like they say, every brose has its horns. And I'm just going to toss a perception just to kind of look this guy over. That's better. It kind of just fell, and I didn't count it. That's a 36.
Well, you can see that he is wearing armor. He's wearing looks like leather armor. Looks like he's got a shield. He's got a rapier. He's got a bow and arrow with him. He's got a pretty fancy looking cloak. Looks like a well-armed and kitted individual, but he's not wearing like any insignias of like a particular faction or anything, or like the waving the flag of Magnamar or anything like that.
He doesn't have like a jersey that says Technic League on the back.
No.
Okay.
Just
They
look.
really need to make those standard.
I know. Well, maybe he didn't make the Technic League basketball team.
Okay. I think at this point, Tarazi would just return to the group. He's tempted to call out to this person, but then he looks down at his character sheet and is like, I am not the face of the party. It's that weird guy. With his literal +0 to diplomacy. So he'll begin to stealthily return.
Alright, why don't you bounce me another stealth to sneak away from this horned individual's location.
This is the third different die that's rolled a natural 18 on me for me tonight. It's like a 1 or an 18, so it's another 51.
Nice. So you definitely, you're pretty confident that you are getting away safely here. You can reconnect with your party out in the woods, safely out of earshot.
And yeah, Tarazi would kind of relay that well-horned individual, not wearing any flags or jerseys, seems well-armed. Not sure why he's there, but didn't want to ask questions.
Would Tarazi's amazing gift for verbally describing their physical appearance allow any of us to roll on what ancestry this strange person may be?
Yeah, you could roll
Or is
based.
there not enough detail from hearing about it?
You could roll based on the description.
So low.
You said either local or plains?
Yeah, you could do local or plains.
All
One of
right.
those
Same
is
for me. I'm
more
gonna
than
roll-
twice the height of the other one. Not terrible.
That's a 7. What's a 7 get?
With a 7, you think Tarazi's probably lying. He's making stuff up.
This guy.
Looks like I got the same as Zach. Oh wait, no, Zach just rolled a second time.
Oh yeah, no. I have knowledge and local, and local and plains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my local is garbage, so I only rolled plains and got a 19.
Local or plains. One I rolled a 5 for a 19, and the other one I rolled a nat 1 for a 15. So
Nice.
Brixby's like, I don't know. Is he like a juggalo? Sounds like a juggalo.
Well,
That's also Brixby's voice again.
I think a 19 is enough that maybe you even catch a little scent of sulfur on the air that being carried over from that fire, and you can put together that it sounds like this guy is a tiefling, possibly like with some infernal blood specifically.
This almost sounds like, what is it called? Devil Spawn, right? Aluin, what's the name?
I believe that they are sometimes referred to as tieflings, and they're also sometimes considered a form of Nephilim. That certainly does sound a lot like what Tarazi saw. He could be one of those, this mystery person.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like north of here, north of Chitterhome, there's Sarkoris. Seems the seed of demons and devils spread, but they might be good. I'm not making judgment, just something I've seen.
So, should we just, shoot him from far away, just in case?
Just in case what?
Just in case we need to later.
Oh. Can we tell if he's technically? That's directed to Tarazi.
I couldn't tell from there. There are no obvious insignias, but they are devious swords, the Technic League. They can take any sort of... They don't all just wear robes and swing censers around. That's only some of the self-important ones.
Well, maybe he can help us. Or we can help him. Or maybe we shoot him. I think we should be prepared to do both.
Yes, perhaps one or more of us approach while invisible and let Alwyn and their calming presence see what brings this person to the scar of the spider on this lovely day.
Yeah, and if calming doesn't work, I can yell at him. I've got a chainsaw.
Alwyn will put his hood on because he still thinks that weird lumpy head in a hood looks less weird and suspicious than his face does. And say, I can try to talk to him, yes. But it probably is a good idea if we're ready to attack if we have to, especially, and he kind of looks towards Bricks, if he's from a place like Sarkoris. I've heard very bad things about that place.
Well, to be fair, you've probably heard terrible things about rat folk as well. So, let's go into this with an open mind. And I will be ready to fireball the heck out of them in case they do anything wrong.
Alright, so are we doing, is Bricks gonna be like Reg Invis then, or is he gonna be just kind of hiding in the back hoping nobody's noticing he's doing magic?
I'm casting another invisibility on myself because I have 2 prepared today, and I'm going to move up to the edge of the woods, like literally right here. For folks that aren't in the foundry, that is like midway on the beach. This beach creates a point, and it's like midway through the forest to the point.
And is Tarazi still invisible since he hasn't done anything combat-wise? Because doesn't that last like a million years now with your current level?
Yeah, that lasted 11 minutes, but I'm not sure how long it realistically took for him to slink around and...
Oh, yeah, for you to get back and tell us everything, yeah, so that might have been long enough.
Probably.
He also attacked Brixby at camp, breaking his invisibility.
That's true.
Yeah. Snake instincts kicked in.
Tarazi will have his orc hornbow instead of his null blade for now. A null blade and shield are sheathed.
Asuma will stay within the tree line, but try to get a bead on the person with her rifle in case she needs to.
So it zoomed in right as I was moving, and so it threw my token all the way almost to the tent. No.
Yeah, Tarazi stumbles drunkenly into the campfire.
So we're sending Alwyn?
Yeah, I think the
and
plan
Alwyn
was
is
just
going to be
for
visible.
me to go out and... Yeah.
I think...
Wait, are you invisible?
And
I thought
then
you were just doing... Wait, visible.
No, I'm visible.
Visible,
not
right.
invisible. Visible.
So if we're going
Yeah.
visible, then I
Yeah.
think Kira would want to go, and she'll stow the chainsaw.
Okay, so she doesn't have... Because that's kind of what it worked. I didn't want it to seem like there's a whole gang of people showing up for this person.
No, but I don't think she'd let Alwyn go by himself.
And I'm going to ready a lightning bolt specifically and tell them to stay out of my direct line. they're still at the fire, then I can zap them.
Okay.
Okay, so line up in a line so we can get all three of us.
Yep.
Perfect.
We'll each come around different sides of the tent.
Is this thing actually like a shape?
That's
I'm
not
trying to-
hostile at
I can't
all.
see around this thing.
Most friendly
see
pincher
around-
maneuver.
Yeah. Hang on, let me go back over to where Kira went. I'm just trying to see around this like obelisk that has been created here. And I feel like probably while we're still like not kissing distance from this person, Alwyn will call out to him and say, "Hello, greetings."
And as you're walking around to cross through this little makeshift campsite, you hear some shifting as this person stands up and draws his rapier, and he says, "Bonjour."
Bonjour.
Don't see many people around here.
No, you really don't. You're actually only the third person we've met since entering this valley. My name is Alwyn, and this is Kira. Who are you? And I think at this point he's gonna roll his diplomacy. That is only a 3 on the die, but that's still a 16.
And he says, "Je m'appelle Hersek."
I don't have French on my character sheet, unfortunately. But it's a pleasure to meet you. What was it? Hersek?
Yeah,
Oh,
Hersek.
you wrote it in the chat, yeah. It's a pleasure to meet you, Hersek. If I can ask, what are you doing out here in such a dangerous place, all by yourself?
I could ask you the same. I have, I have employers who have sent me here to take a look around, as they say. How about yourselves?
We're just exploring. We've heard there can be interesting stuff here, even though this place is so dangerous. There's actually a few more in our group. I'm not gonna say how many. There's actually a few more in our group, but we were worried that we would scare you if we all came together, so the rest stayed back at our camp down by the river. And I can roll a bluff if you want me to.
Yeah, if you could.
They're totally not just like 10 feet away in the trees pointing weapons at you. Okay, that's much better. That's a 13 on the die for a 26.
So his eyes kind of narrow, and you get like a fairly distinct feeling of like being studied, like in an almost predatory sort of way. And he says, no. We shall not lie to one another. Call your friends out. We can talk. We can all be friendly here, but we must not lie.
Guy can beat a contested roll at a 26. That's fun. Okay, so Alwyn will then say, "Okay, Tarazi, Levi, he knows you're there. You can come out."
Yeah, hearing that, Drowsy will put the bow back on his back and the shield on his arm, but not the null blade at the moment. But he'll just kind of walk out with him and his goopy large snake companion.
This is Tarazi and his companion Levi. I apologize for lying and saying that they weren't here with us, but as we've both said, this is a very dangerous place, and we didn't know if you were friendly or not, so we wanted to make sure that we had someone keeping an eye on us. I'm not much of a fighter, and Kira didn't want to have her weapons out so that we didn't scare you, so we had to have some insurance.
Ah, but of course, that is only smart. You never know who you can trust. And his eyes are sort of flicking to Kira and to Tarazi and Levi, and he's still got his sword out, but it's not like up and pointed at anyone. It's just down at his side. He says, "This is, of course, all of you then."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can I
Can I
aid?
get that?
Rolling again.
Sure.
The
I was
gap.
gonna say, can Kira or Tarazi aid?
Oh, Tarazi has a 0 and is not saying anything. He just kind of offers a friendly
what's-
wave, and that's it.
Does Kira get a 10?
That's a bluff. Oof, no.
Yeah, bluff.
Nope, I do not aid.
No 10? Okay. That is higher, though, so that is 21. That is a 31. With an 18 on the die. That's almost as high as I can roll. So if that doesn't work, we're in trouble.
And he shakes his head and he goes, "I do not see why you insist on lying to me. You have me at a disadvantage. There are, 4, and no doubt 1, 2, 3 more of you in the forest, and I am all alone here. I am no threat to such a large group of capable adventurers such as yourselves. Why the deception? Why must you antagonize me?"
Can we sense motive on that?
Yeah. And can we use his plus 30 when we do it?
Ugh. No, that's a
Need
16.
plus 6.
Oh, 15.
That is a 23 with a 17 on this die that I very much like because it's giving me high numbers.
So Alwyn, you probably get a sense that he's not sure if he's a threat to you or not. He's still trying to kind of figure that out.
Okay, well, I think in that case, I think he'll say, "Okay, there are more of us, but you very clearly are not sure yourself yet whether we're enemies or not, so I think you can understand that it's safer for us if the other members of our party stay out of sight for the moment." And I'll roll another diplomacy on that if you want me to.
Sure.
Not great. That was only a 5 for an 18. Do I sway him with my 18?
I think he'll say, "Perhaps we have gotten off on the wrong foot here." And he sheaths his sword and holds his hands up and says, "I will not attack you. I am no threat to you right now, and I do not intend to be a threat to you. I am not here to fight wandering in parties of adventurers. Can you say the same?"
I would say that, yes, we do our best to not get into fights if we don't have to. I'm really not exactly what you would call our leader, though. I'm far from it, so I'm just going to say, if the other members of our group feel safe enough to come out now, they can, and he'll raise his voice as he says that part. And leave it up to them.
Bonjour,
They
mon
trust this
cher.
guy.
Brixby says from complete invisibility.
A fellow man of culture.
Who are your employers? It's the most important question that any of us need to know right now.
I think, judging by your intonation, you may already have suspicions as to who has hired me to come to this place. I understand my employers, the Technic League, are perhaps not the most popular group in these parts.
Then why are you working for them?
Because gold is gold. I had a different position once, and when that ended, I took to the road and I found a new one. I owe them no particular loyalty, but they have my sword as long as they are paying for it.
Do you think you like gold more than, I don't know, not fighting?
You would fight me merely because of the person who is paying me?
It's just a question.
If you were to put your commitment to the Technic League in terms of gold pieces, what is it?
Bold of you to assume they say how much he's being paid. He thinks he thinks for a moment, looks down and says, if you're willing to make me an offer for my services, I am always willing to listen. But I don't think it is very gentlemanly to share that sort of information just to anyone you happen upon.
Yes, I understand Valor has much currency and sell swords, but
What do they have you here looking for?
I am simply scouting the location for some future venture of theirs, seeing if it is worthwhile for them to send their own people.
We actually heard a rumor of a cave off in the distance that apparently has some kind of large scorpion robot in it. We were planning to check it out eventually, but it really does sound like something that's more in the League's alley, and, well, we've kind of gotten on their bad side in the past, so if we tell you about that and you go check that out, maybe that'll make the League not be upset with us anymore. He says, totally not trying to get this guy to wander into a Dominion camp with a scorpion robot in it.
And he probably turns and pokes his fire with a stick a little bit and goes, perhaps I could put in a good word for you with my employers after this job is finished. If you, I guess I have gotten a couple of your names, but how about the rest of you?
oh, Monsieur Tete, a bon mot will make no difference here. It's probably best we just keep it as informal as we have.
I just realized he also can't see Brixby, so he doesn't know your name or what you look like.
He just knows that he learned all of his French from watching Gambit on the X-Men animated show, and that's about enough to carry him.
That's all the French anyone needs, really.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Having been in Paris last week, that is correct. You can just quote Gambit at them and they know what you're talking about.
Just throw playing cards at people who don't understand you.
And just say, remember it, over and over. Well, I would say that perhaps we could join forces in a place like this, but I'm not sure that, I'm not sure all of you could get past my employer's nature and, behave yourselves. So perhaps I will take my chances on my own.
Well, I think you'd be safer with us.
Oh.
You know, assuming you didn't do anything too technically.
Is that a bluff? Or does Kira actually think that he'd be safer with them?
Why wouldn't he be? We're super kind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does Kira really
Nothing
think
bad
that?
has ever happened to any NPC we've...
Yeah, genuinely, I don't, like, this is fine. She doesn't plan on attacking him unless they attack him first. Unless he attacks them first. That could be a diplomacy, but I don't have any of that. It could be an intimidate.
Well, he says, if you can ignore perhaps your dislike of my employers and you can behave yourselves a bit better than you did to start this conversation, I can perhaps aid you in whatever it is you're doing here in exchange for the sort of safety in numbers approach. I do worry a bit that some of the hives in this place are a bit much for one to take on by oneself.
And you're not mad that they sent you out here by yourself?
A job is a job. They didn't know specifically where they were or what there was here. That's why they needed someone to come check the place out.
Well, I just think that you should remember you can't have any money if you're dead.
Did that cut off, or did you just say, I just think that you should dead?
That's what I heard also.
I thought I heard be dead.
That's really funny. I said, I don't think you can have... I think you should remember you can't have any money if you're dead. But I kind of like, I think you should dead.
Yeah, that's what the silence after that is from. Like,
That's a t-shirt right there.
I think you should
I
dead.
think you should.
Just Kira's face.
To which Tarazi would chime in and simply say, "Perhaps you can negotiate for hazard pay when you return, definitely alive."
I am most certainly planning to return alive, but yes, I believe this job is much more complicated than I originally thought, as I'm sure you've learned in this place.
I think we're a little bit more interested in what you've learned in this place.
Learned that there are some extremely strange beings living to the west and north of here. From beyond this world, I think. I've managed to steer clear of them, but if I mean to step into the places that they occupy, obviously it's impossible to stay hidden and wander through their homes as it is.
Oh, I have another question since you talked about this job being more dangerous than you expected. Why aren't you working with the other group they sent in?
Other group?
Yes, I mentioned before, we've met two people before you. One of them was a very nice man named Pater, who said that he had seen a group of Technic League agents pass through not long before we did. Not one person, a group.
Yes, he said they were a bit rude to him, and he doesn't know if they ever returned from their expedition.
He looks a bit sheepish, or looks down at his feet and says, "You have caught me out. I am not here on a simple scouting mission. I have been sent because of this previous party, because there is a Technic League lieutenant who went into this valley and never returned. I am to discern his whereabouts and retrieve him if possible."
And they still just sent you by yourself? I hope they're paying you a lot for something like that. That seems very dangerous if one of their own officers couldn't do it.
Well, sometimes the magic-using types lack some practical skills.
Hey, those are my friends.
What's the name of this lieutenant?
The lieutenant's name is Thrace.
Thrace?
Thrace. Slipped
Thorax.
into Asuma's voice there for a second, but... Le Thrace.
Do we know anything about the race? Can we roll anything, or is that too
Yeah, would
obscure?
that be like a local or anything?
You could roll like a
Is he-
local.
All right, I'm gonna go Loke.
Getting a loke.
Roll knowledge for Loco.
Nope.
I have forbidden knowledge of For Loco from the before
Back
times.
when it could,
Oh, terrible
back
rolls.
when it could kill you.
Yeah, that's only a 6 after rolling a 5 on my last knowledge local for a 20.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
your bonus is so high that you're like, that's a terrible roll. It's 1 more than I got, and I rolled a natural 16.
I also
It's
rolled a
relative.
6. 6 for a
Because I
9.
have a +4, but I feel like he would not know. Like, we've established he's never even heard of the technical before he got here, so I'm not rolling that one.
Yeah, I don't think any of you have heard of this Lieutenant Therace.
Captain, so he's probably not as famous.
What information specifically did they give you to locate Captain, Lieutenant, Person, Therace?
They gave me very little to go on. They told me the group he left with, the direction they went, and the supposed plan that they had, but Mr. Therace was not so honest with his higher-ups. It seems they are concerned that he had ulterior motives. It took me quite some time to track him to this valley, and now I am working on determining where exactly within here he is.
Do you mean they sent him somewhere else and he came here? Or he just did unexpected stuff while within the valley?
I don't know the specifics, but I believe he did not disclose to them that this was where he was going to be.
But they told you of his party. What
Yes.
does that consist of?
Several of these wizardy research types, as I said, not a practical skill between them, no elbow grease, no calloused hands, just a bunch of bookish types.
Nerds.
We've got the greasiest elbows in Numeria. Literally, canonically. Does a little jig visibly, just to really prove it. So what did he say he was doing?
That I do not know. They do not confide in their sellswords, I'm afraid.
Have you found anything that might point to him?
Not beyond the whispers and trails that led me into the valley to begin with. And the words of your friend Pater, who said that they went in further to the west. I believe that only leaves 3 possible locations that could have been his destination. To the north here, to the west, and the swamp to the south.
The west is where we heard that spider robot is. They could have gone looking for that.
It is possible.
That is the one that's the domain, right?
Yeah.
West, because north of us is... Yeah, I was going to say north of us is the fungus.
Oh, man. Back in episode 143, Peter even told us there was a guy with sword and horns on his head that was looking for the technical agents. And here he is.
Oh, right.
As foretold.
Not
You
lying
take so
to
much
us.
better notes than I do.
It depends on the episode. I'm like, wait, he talked to Peter? Peter didn't tell us about him. Well, yeah, he did. I forgot about that. That's his fault.
Well, maybe we can all be friends, and you can find your dead Technic League guys, and also come to understand that the Technic League doesn't care about you, and that's why they sent you alone here for some kind of suicide mission, and that we're your real friends, and we do care about you, and, you know, you probably won't die, because we've got a mix of bookish types and elbow grease.
Well, I'm all for probably not dying. And it seems you've come to an accord. Your happy little band is growing. There is the small matter of the alien who's hiding in the woods behind you, who hasn't been revealed.
I mean, I'm still invisible, technically.
That's
I'm just
true.
the disembodied hot voice.
So mysterious.
Really trying to, like, Love is Blind this situation with me and Hirsek.
And then
Yeah,
you
he's
get out
picturing
of the
like
pods.
Peaky Blinders killing Murphy in his head.
No, wait,
And
we
he's
get out of the
disappointed
pods
you're
and
a
what?
rat. You get
Oh
out of
my
the point and
God.
You're like,
No!
oh!
The doors open and his like eyes are up here, and then they
So
like go down, and then
excited.
they go further down to 3 feet 1 inch.
And then 2 weeks later, you break up and you
rubber
swear it's
face.
because things were different in the pods. It's not because
Let me cast my disc. Makes me more confident.
You've got this red mold rouge.
I know, yeah. I have like super apple cheeks going on.
Just looking
with
so
my
lively.
red mold.
Tail blade
But
swishing.
but very few
Seductively.
eyelashes.
Very cute.
I mean,
I'm assuming, like, Asuma is a trick. Like, I don't know what class Asuma is, but I'm assuming some sort of rangery type thing. I feel like they can hang back and stay out of the way and hopefully not get noticed.
The
we're gonna
V-Mods.
eventually see them. We can't like 90s sitcom this thing the whole time between our two NPCs. Like, there's gonna be a point, right? We can't just be like hang out in the shadows. Like Trevor's girlfriend on Love is Blind. Sorry. That was just for
Love,
easy.
Love is Blind.
Like, assuming this guy's perception is not a plus 70 like his sense motive is, I'm assuming Azuma could hide because they hid from us.
It's really more, does Sam want to play two NPCs at the same time?
And
Don't
like
know each other there.
we met a cooler NPC, so you pretend that you don't exist
You're
for
gonna,
like the remainder of the adventure. Just
There's
hang
a
out.
thing
We're
with Rick
swapping
Speed.
you out of the party.
So are we telling him about Azuma or no?
she's just sitting
I don't
in the
know.
trees crying.
Oh,
I don't want to assume that she wants anything to do with this guy.
Hersek just says, so, adventurers, where shall we go to first?
We should go to that copse of trees over there and see if there's anyone to meet.
Oh my god, what are you doing
Completely
here?
unrelated to us.
What a crazy happenstance. Crazy random happenstance.
We're simply searching for... Who knows what might lie in these caves? We're kind of working our way towards the aliens, but not like, like the plant kind of ones. The ones that you can't hear their name, not in a Christopher Walken voice.
Ah, the pink ones, you say.
Me go.
Mia, go!
We gotta find the me go. Just every time. I hate it. I love it. It's amazing. I want it.
Amigo played by Christopher Walken for the remainder of this, please.
The Dominion of the Black, they came in and stole my teeth. And the dollars, and the dollar. Edit it out. It's just terrible.
Keeping it in.
Nope.
I'm no
Sam
Heath
sort
Parker.
of like a whisperer in darkness.
Yeah, so we just kind of say we're just kind of working our way around, doing searching of our own. Maybe, we'll find thorax while, in the same, in a cave while we're looking for other stuff. Just kind of treasure hunting.
And he says, well, for the time being, at least, I suppose I will follow along with you and watch your back, as they say. I, of course, expect you to watch mine as well. If there's any aliens around, you better tell me about them, because, they're dangerous.
Same. If you happen to see any aliens lurking around following us, I'm sure you'll be sure to let us know.
Bien sûr, mon chouette. It's cabbage head. French people say that to each other as like a term of endearment. Big ups are probably like one French listener that's like, I don't.
I've never said that.
Our one French
Someone over
listener
there
who
does.
checked out the minute I tried to do.
No, we already lost all
Je
the French
refuse.
listeners when I... We lost all the French listeners when I posted that picture in the Discord.
Oh, no.
With the caption, hon 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 begging.
No way. Beret Giraud is probably one of my faves.
All right. Well, I think as the ever-growing party in the Scar of the Spider resumes their journey, with Asuma apparently trailing behind all of you, just sort of sneaking along, I'm going to bed.
It'll be fine.
Bonne
Night,
nuit,
Sam.
mon cher.
Bonsoir.
Salut.
Good night, Sam and Hirsek.
Nice sneaky Azuma.
Against the machine. Against the machine.
Pot Against the Machine is property of Network Against the Machine LLC, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are property of Paizo Publishing. See their website for more details. Theme Against the Machine was written and performed by our own Zach. See the show notes for additional music and sound licensing. If you enjoyed the show, we encourage you to leave us a review.
Oh, Sam, I thought your shirt said Bad Pelican for the longest time, and I'm now reading it correctly.
That is a fantastic name for a punk band, though.
The idea of a pelican singing Bad Religion songs in front of the Bad Religion band instead of, I can't even remember what the lead singer of Bad Religion's name is.
I could not tell
I'm gonna
you.
look it up.
It's
Greg.
Greg.
Just
That's
does,
Greg. Yeah, it's Greg Gaffin. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, no.
Pelican just does hardcore punk covers of Flock of Seagulls songs.
No, now it's like if Sam ever decides I don't want to be monkeys, bears, or robots anymore, they're like, now I'm Bad Pelican.
Bad Pelican.
Now we've burned my next alias.
Pelican can't do anything about it.
Not with that attitude. Brixby translates it by saying, Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Sorry, I can't even make the joke. Yeah, no, he doesn't. He doesn't want to sleep with the tiefling.
I don't know, the fan art could be wild.
No, I mean, he's hot. Like, I'm sorry you guys can't see how hot this tiefling is in the Discord.
He is canonically pretty hot.
It's canonically hot. What are you going to do? There's going to be some artwork out there on Tumblr somewhere.
No, I was just going to say, if we ship them, they'd be like, here, Sexby is pretty rough. Maybe Brick Sex.
Sex.
So bad.
So that's the episode title, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to listen to the bloops to understand this episode title. Your
As soon as I started to
sex
say it, like, oh
penis.
no, that has sex in the middle. And now I'm moving to Switzerland.
And we all died.